a few points on some objections that were raised to my contention that Islamophobia is racism. Not all of them were completely unexpected objections, and I'd like to address them now. The first one is the idea of non-immutability. In other words, no one is actually, being a Muslim is not a racial characteristic. It's not an immutable characteristic, like, say, being a person of African origin, or a person of Asian origin, or a person of Caucasian origin. People choose what they believe. They can change their beliefs, and that means that it really has nothing to do with race. Now, I suppose in a certain definition you're absolutely right, but what I'm referring to here is the way that the term is used colloquially. And the way that the term is used colloquially here is, if you dislike someone for what they are, you are a racist. Or you can call them a bigot, but I call it racism, simply because it meets all the criteria for the classical definition of racism, i.e., I don't like group X simply because they are group X. If I don't like someone because they're a Muslim, then I am afraid that that's racism in my books, or at least the way the term is colloquially used here. The second major objection is an attack on, or at least a aspersion on motive. People who call Islamophobia racism are essentially just trying to silence anyone who has legitimate criticisms of certain aspects of Islam. Now, I suppose that may be entirely possible, but I would say that that's a blind alley, that kind of criticism, because at the end of the day, when I say that Islamophobia is racism, the only thing that people really have to go on is what I'm actually saying. I may be actually trying to use it as a denunciatory tool to just shut people down and say that you can't criticize Islam. Islam is beyond criticism, and if you do so, you're a racist. I may not be doing that. Now, that's something that people will never know, whether or not I am that kind of a person, so I think that that's a pointless kind of argument to pursue. Let's argue the case on its merits, not on the supposed hidden motives of the people that are making the case. In the same vein, you'll note that I haven't said anything along the lines of people who are objecting to my term racism are deliberately objecting to that term as a sort of subterfuge for being covert bigots. They actually know darn well that what they're doing is out-and-out bigotry, but saying that I'm not a racist because if somebody actually stops being a Muslim, I'll dislike them, or I will stop hating them, or I'll stop hating, or whatever, I'll stop having these negative feelings towards them. Whereas actually the person actually is a racist, and, well, let's be honest, there are a few people that are marching in the same parade as the militant atheists that are less than desirable people, or less than pleasant people, i.e. the sort of people that would not look out of place in a KKK rally or a BNP rally, or even just people vaguely of that ilk, i.e. racists. So I'm not going to accuse anyone of hiding behind the term, or hiding, using I'm not a racist objection to cover up racism. Because at the end of the day, I don't really know whether or not somebody that I'm debating with is a racist. I don't know whether or not this person is sincere, or if they're just a plain bigot. They may actually have a legitimate, or actually a well-thought-out anti-Islamic or anti-Muslim philosophy where they honestly believe it to be a positive menace. Now, these people, I believe, are open to be, this group are open to be reasoned with. The other side, which may be actually, as I say, surreptitiously siding themselves with the first group, the racists, the out-and-out bigots, the out-and-out chauvinists, or whatever you want to call them, might be using exactly the same argument, talking exactly the same talk as the first group, but they're just saying Islamophobia isn't racism to hide the fact that they are racists. I won't accuse anyone of that either, and I'm sorry if I've given the impression that I am accusing anyone of that, because I don't know why what anyone's motives are for being Islamophobic. So I think that that's a bit of a blind alley, and I think that we should actually stick to the actual merits of the case. Thank you.